the first question that came to my mind after this announcement, and actually it's bothered me a little bit throughout the whole process, Donald. My understanding is that the commitment to be involved in the Winter Olympics in 2006 and 2010 was collectively bargained. It was part of the last CBA. My understanding is also that it's not included in the new CBA. And I'll just ask you a simple question. This is a big issue for the players. I get that. Why is it not in the CBA? It would seem to me if it's an important issue to you, you've got to at least put it forward when you're negotiating a CBA.
Yeah, I think the answer to that is pretty simple. We had an understanding on Sochi, which held. There was always a generalized understanding that we'd look at the situation, and if we didn't have costs, we'd figure out a way to do it. When you were doing the deal in 04-05, you knew where the games were going to be, and you knew that 2010 was going to be in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. We had just heard about Korea at that point, and I think the short answer is that no one envisioned that the owners would take this kind of view, which is, we indicated in our statement the other day, is basically just short-sighted. And clearly, as we see it, contrary to the best interests of the game and the growth of the game. I mean, just consider for a moment. Maybe down the road in 10 or 12 years, the World Cup, which we started last year, will have enormous international presence. We certainly hope so. We think the quality of the competition merits that. But it doesn't yet. And in terms of a global audience, you can't do much better than the Olympics. In terms of an audience in Asia, which everybody wants to try and open, and in which the NHL says it wants to try and open, where you have a big Olympic focus in China, given the games in 2008 and the games in 2022, the real question is, why do you simply walk away from incredible numbers of hours of programming that are going to reach all kinds of people that would not otherwise watch NHL players? And you got to be able to figure out a way to take advantage of that. We're smart enough to do that, I would think. For whatever series of reasons, the NHL's position this time was, well, gee, somebody pay me. Gee, you guys don't want to pay me? Okay, I'm going home. That's about it.
My counter-argument would be, though, is if I'm an NHL owner, how can you quantify what being involved in the Olympics is worth to me? Like, I need some sort of great. It's great that we're going to get a lot of eyes on us in Asia. That's wonderful. The players like it. I get all that. But I'm an owner, Donald, and what's in it for me financially? What's in it for me that's something tangible that I can, that I can put in my back pocket or I can put into into running my team?
Depends on what your time horizon is. If your time horizon is the next few months and everything's self-contained and you don't believe in long-run business plans and you don't believe in investment and you don't believe in attracting new customers, then maybe nothing. If you want to run a business, though, in which you make investments, in which you showcase your product, in which you want to attract new fans, in which you want to move from a North America-centric or basically North America-only sport to something which has a much larger global focus, you got to do these kinds of things. It's really pretty simple. I mean, would Amazon, for example, say to itself, gee, I can't quantify what my profit's going to be in the next 6 weeks from doing something in some other country, so given that, let's just stay home. No business that wants to grow would do that. The NBA's been all over the world for a long, long time.
Yeah, but the NBA also, I mean, you would have to admit the Olympic scheduling favors the NBA much more than it does the NHL.
Of course. But see, when you say, what does it do for me, you also have to ask, what is the harm in growing? Is there any evidence at all, or has anyone ever suggested that NHL revenues in North America fall because of participation in the Olympics? No one has ever even hinted at that.